Nothing is too beautiful, nothing is too expensive. This ambitious phrase comes from Ettore Bugatti, the founder of the most beautiful brand in history, Bugatti. It's a factory that makes the most iconic, wildest, and most desirable cars in the world. The proof is that just a few days ago the brand presented the Veyron FKP, which is literally the same car as the Veyron released 20 years ago, and the whole world loved it. So, you have to admit that releasing the same car twice, 20 years apart, with the same success, is completely unheard of in the automotive industry. Yet, even though Bugatti designs the most fascinating cars ever conceived, the brand also has its dark side. In fact, the most beautiful Bugattis never came out and you'll never see them in your life, except here. More stunning than car show or press displays, these are unique works of art. I'm not referring to special models for the ultra-rich. Every Bugatti is already for them. I'm talking about secret models that no one can buy. When I worked at Volkswagen in Wolfsburg, the cloudiest city in Germany, my office was just 200 meters from the Bugatti design studio. I had friends there and saw things. Today, I want to share stories of secret, lost, or abandoned projects, cars that shouldn't exist, experiments Bugatti once forgotten, and masterpieces intentionally hidden. It's time to take a deep dive into the hidden side of one of the most famous but also most mysterious brands in history and discover the beauties that Bugatti wants to hide from you. Since Ettore Bugatti's era, creativity has defined the brand. In the 1920s, they built cars others couldn't imagine. Pushing boundaries, innovating, and exploring new ideas have always been part of Bugatti's DNA. But you likely already know that. Today, I'm fascinated by modern Bugattis that keep pushing limits. Breaking boundaries requires trying new ideas and imagining fresh concepts. You might say all brands make concept cars, but at Bugatti it's a constant effort. When Romano Artioli took over Bugatti in 1982, everything had to be rebuilt. It began with concepts and projects imagined by top designers Paolo Martin, Giorgetto Giugiaro, Marcello Gandini, and Nuccio Bertone. Paolo Martin, former Pininfarina chief designer, created the 110 PM1 with a then provocative design. Giugiaro presented his version, the ID90, at the Turin Motor Show, but it lacked strong references to Bugatti's identity. Bertone imagined a model for Artioli, but changed his mind along the way. He eventually presented it as the Lotus Emotion. Ultimately, Gandini prevailed, and 5 versions of his design were used for the prototype. Romano Artioli insists on the famous horseshoe grille, so Gandini abandons the project. So it's the architect Giampaolo Benedini, a cousin of the boss, who designed the bodywork of the first modern Bugatti, the Ettore Bugatti 110. He also designed the Campo Galliano factory, then at the Geneva Motor Show in 1993. Bugatti presents the Ettore Bugatti 112, which isn't really a secret car, but it has remained astonishing. It was a large 4-seat sedan, designed by Giugiaro, featuring a 6-liter V12 engine. It was meant to be the world's fastest sedan, but Bugatti's bankruptcy 3 years later suddenly halted the project. We'll honestly revisit this topic later. Romano Artioli's journey was a brief, magical period of under 10 years. Bugatti only saw a lasting revival in 2004 with a single car. The Veyron is the one that changed everything and put Bugatti back at the center of the automotive world, but this Veyron didn't just come out of nowhere. In the late 1990s, Volkswagen bought Bugatti and tried to revive it with the Ettore Bugatti 118, a large luxury coupe with a front W18 engine, but it had several flaws. First of all, Giugiaro had trouble moving away from the design of the 112, which he had proposed 6 years earlier. Its French blue color didn't suit a car of this size, and the reception was mixed. It was actually more like a Bentley than a supercar. The next year, Volkswagen advanced the concept with the Ettore Bugatti 218, a big 4-door sedan also using a W18 engine. The brand was torn between luxury and sportiness, but in 1999 the Ettore Bugatti 18/3 Chiron marked a major shift. The engine moves to the rear, giving a more compact, aggressive silhouette. Bugatti is finally moving toward a modern supercar. And even though there were other attempts based on this, like this version by Walter da Silva, the former head of design at Seat. A few months later, the team refined the concept even further with the Ettore Bugatti 18/4. Veyron, this is the model that led to the production Bugatti Veyron 1001 in 2004. Since the Veyron and Chiron, we remember names tied to horsepower and speeds over 400 km/h. We still had many different models, some even more exclusive and not always easy to recognize. The Vision Gran Turismo, La Voiture Noire, 110, Bolide, Divo, Mistral, Brouillard, and most recently, the Tourbillon. Always 2-seat sports cars with amazing performance. While the Bugatti Veyron impresses with its design and speed, Bugatti has other ideas. A little idea that kept growing and refused to give up on the 4-door sedan. I told you we'd talk about the Ettore Bugatti 112 again. In fact, the Veyron satisfies that racing and sports car side that's in Bugatti's genetic heritage, but what's missing is the whole part that's really focused on luxury and comfort beyond performance. What is the other branch of Bugatti's DNA, shown in the golden age by the Type 41 Royale? Ferdinand Piëch, after acquiring the brand with Volkswagen, persisted with this idea and realized it in 2010 as the Bugatti Galibier. Just before I talk to you about Ovoko, I wanted to tell you about the Bugatti Galibier, more specifically the Bugatti 16C Galibier. It remained unknown to the general public even though it embodied this unique ambition to design the most luxurious and powerful limousine in the world to complete the lineup alongside the legendary Veyron. In September 2009, it was unveiled to select guests at Bugatti's historic Molsheim factory. It was officially revealed at the 2010 Geneva Motor Show, but shown to the public is misleading. It was in Geneva, but not on display for visitors during the show. It was displayed to select clients and journalists during press days, but Bugatti removed it from the stand before the public days. An attitude that was considered contemptuous by several journalists at the time. Galibier was not a random choice. It refers to the Bugatti Type 57 Galibier from the 1930s, which was named after the Col du Galibier. A well-known pass in the French Alps, Galibier is a fitting name for a Bugatti, reflecting a tradition of personality, elegance, and boldness, all while honoring the brand's history. The 16C prefix refers to the W16 engine, 16 cylinders, the car's core technology. Naturally, it comes from a Veyron. This project began at a pivotal time. A Veyron is unique in the Bugatti lineup and leads the automotive industry. The idea is to provide a second, more spacious and luxurious car, targeting a different clientele but remaining equally exclusive. It features a 5-door hatchback sedan design inspired by a coupe limousine, offering both high comfort and dynamic performance. Its chassis combined aluminum and carbon to absorb the immense power expected under the long hood. Previously, Bugatti was considering, as I mentioned, the 8-liter twin-turbo W16 engine derived from the one in the Veyron, but with a different configuration. Rather than 4 turbochargers, it was meant to have 2 superchargers for smoother response in a luxury sedan. The engine was expected to make at least 800 horsepower and reach 380 km/h. That would have set a 4-door car record at the time. The ambition inside was just as bold and even ahead of today. Imagine a cabin where every component exudes luxury. Full leather, fine wood trim, delicately crafted metal surfaces, and a detail that would make history, a chronograph by Gianni Fleurier. Removable and dashboard integrated, it's still stylish. A watch you can wear on your wrist adds extra refinement to the interior. Aesthetically, the 16C Galibier subtly blended tradition with modernity and included the iconic horseshoe grille. A hood's longitudinal line inspired by the Type 57 Atlantic and a distinctive simple silhouette. Thanks to the famous Bugatti C and the two-tone paint, the hood stood out with a 2-part opening system along a central hinge. To once again recall the models from Bugatti's golden era, as early as 2010, some specialized media suggested that Bugatti was considering a limited production of the concept. According to sources at the time, up to 300 units could have been produced. Planned for release in 2013 or 2014, priced near 2 million euros. The idea of a high-performance, ultra-exclusive sedan in a market led by Rolls-Royce and Bentley drew significant interest from potential buyers. For Bugatti, this would have been a strategic move into an untapped segment. Despite positive feedback and production rumors, the CSC Galibier was never produced. In September 2013, Bugatti announced it was ending the project to focus on the Veyron's replacement, the future Bugatti Chiron. On one hand, production needed major investments to adapt the Molsheim facilities, which would have greatly delayed the launch. And on the other hand, the ultra-luxury high-end sedan market is really a niche market, and Bugatti felt it was wiser to strengthen its position in supercars, where it already had undeniable superiority with the Veyron. Today, the Bugatti CSC Galibier is a mythical, unrealized project that reflects Bugatti's immense ambition and the automotive industry's inherent limits. Sometimes even bold ideas must be set aside. For enthusiasts, the Galibier symbolizes what Bugatti might have become. A brand capable not only of redefining the notion of speed and performance, but also of reinventing 4-door luxury with uncompromising style and engineering. In the early 2010s, Bugatti focused on replacing the Veyron, which led to the Chiron after making the world's fastest car. The question is how to do better without repeating yourself. For years, the entire company was mobilized to meet this impossible challenge, but behind the scenes, alongside this colossal project, Bugatti was also exploring another path, a less extreme car, more elegant, more grand touring. This secret project is the Bugatti Atlantic from 2015, and it looks like this. It's a car that, personally, I find incredible. It's even more legendary because it was nearly finished but suddenly shelved and never officially shown. Bugatti created it with a clear goal, to avoid being a brand with just one model like the Veyron or Chiron. Internally, the stated goal was a lineup of 3 cars, an entry-level model called Atlantic, the Chiron in the middle, and a top-of-the-line, ultra-exclusive model, really above everything else. Why Atlantic? Bugatti is honoring its iconic 1930s Type 57 Atlantic, and the name Atlantic has real historical significance, not just style. It's a nod to the pilot John Mermoz, a friend of John Bugatti, who disappeared over the Atlantic in 1936, which led to the name of the Atlantic Coupe as a tribute. In 2015, Bugatti picked this name to create a grand touring coupe rather than a hardcore hypercar, evident in its technical choices and proportions. Unlike the Veyron and Chiron, the Atlantic is a 2-seater with a long hood and classic Grand Tourer design featuring a carbon monocoque. And Bugatti openly draws intelligently from the Volkswagen Group's parts bin when it makes sense, to keep the complexity and cost of a Bugatti under control. It's more usable on a daily basis. The key detail is there's no double V16. Bugatti used a Group V8 driving the rear wheels via a transaxle for better weight distribution, a true Grand Touring approach. On the design side, the intention is almost retro-futuristic. It's clearly a modern Bugatti, with the look we see on the Chiron, but with a hint of pre-war style. The car features a central spine and sculptural design similar to the Type 57 Atlantique. Featuring modern surfaces, slim headlights and low doors, the team uses the Volkswagen XL1's mechanism. Upward pivoting motorized openings are impressive and would have reduced costs. The interior also adopts this style, including features from the Chiron developed at the same time. Hakim Anshaik, then head of Bugatti Design, said in an interview that the Atlantic was already planned, even though it wasn't fully approved for production. For an official unveiling at the People Beach Concours d'Elegance in 2015, all studio posters listed this date. But preparing the car took longer, so the launch was postponed. But less than a month after the 2015 People Beach Concours Dieselgate broke out, and the entire Volkswagen Group went into budget panic mode. Bugatti, while the group's most prestigious brand, remains a small and fragile part that must show it isn't losing money. They must aim for a balanced budget and prevent the brand from being sold. For 2 years, extreme caution is required, and the Atlantic is gone. That's really a shame when you look at it today, because for me it's one of the most beautiful Bugatti, by far, and I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. It's unfortunate that Bugatti once considered a more accessible, easier to drive model. Not in price, but as a Grand Tourer model, closer to its heritage of elegant design. And the reason we're talking about it today is because after the shock of Dieselgate, little by little around 2020, the brand slowly began to lift the veil on this magnificent project, which unfortunately remained in the shadows. And behind this Atlantic project, there's also an important name, the person responsible for the exterior design. Just below Hakim Anshaik is Sacha Selipanov, future Chiron designer, who later worked at Koenigsegg and started his own supercar brand. Officially, Bugatti has never communicated about the exact authorship of the Atlantic, but several publications and different documents indicate that Sacha played a central role in the development of its design. While designing the Chiron hypercar, Selipanov was also developing another Bugatti vision. I'll tell you about another model. The same designer has also envisioned an alternative, incredible version of the Chiron. The Bugatti Chiron is not just the successor to the Veyron, it's one of the most complex, demanding, and technically daring projects in the modern automotive industry. Unveiled at the 2016 Geneva Motor Show, it embodied Bugatti's goals: extreme power, luxury, and advanced technology. As I said, the task was immense. They had to surpass a car that had already set extreme standards. Bugatti used the familiar W16 engine but optimized it to extraordinary levels. The Chiron boasts 1,500 horsepower, does 0 to 100 in 2.4 seconds, and has an electronically limited top speed of 420 km/h. You already know these spectacular numbers, but it's good to mention them again because they hide an even more impressive reality, the engineering required to achieve them. For example, with a cooling system like no other, 10 different radiators to manage the engine's extreme temperature. In short, every component was redesigned for maximum reliable performance, affecting the design. The Chiron, known since 2015, draws from Calandre brand heritage. Horseshoe grille and C-shaped side signature, with a more muscular, sculpted and modern shape than the Veyron. However, it wasn't meant to look this way. Sacha Selipanov envisioned a more ambitious alternative design that could have made the Chiron even more visually striking. A version top management rejected at the last minute, which I find incredible. Each side of the horseshoe grille has giant grills with an ultra-light light signature. I think it gives it a crazy character. The headlights are hidden, these grills, so that we can have this unique graphic look, and I even see a little nod to the Ettore Bugatti initials of Ettore Bugatti. Honestly, the Chiron is beautiful. But I think this direction is both more streamlined and more dramatic. It would have been something never seen before, and that's exactly what we expect from Bugatti. What's great about this version is that it perfectly matches the logic and the theme of the rear, which was kept on the final version. A large sculpted opening with a horizontal line, and both car sides mirror each other. I think making the headlights disappear creates a more cohesive, sculptural, and functional design. Basically, this almost conceptual identity was indeed adopted by the design team and was supposed to be kept for production, so why wasn't this stroke of design genius actually used during the crucial internal reviews? The management of Bugatti and the Volkswagen Group felt that this front end, as spectacular as it was too polarizing and could confuse the brand's ultra-demanding and conservative clientele. That's why the front of the production Chiron was redesigned. They chose a more recognizable lighting signature with multiple and well-defined headlights. Well, there was also a small budget issue. They had to meet the technical constraints inherent to a supercar of this caliber, especially integrating the cooling systems, aerodynamics, and headlight regulations. Developing this vision was apparently too costly in time and resources back then. This example shows the tension between radical creativity and the commercial and technical limits Bugatti faces. The final Chiron remains beautiful. Every time I see this alternate version, which was set aside last minute, I feel a twinge, believing the studio considered bolder, more artistic versions than those remembered by history. After leaving Bugatti, Sacha Selipanov shared sketches and revealed the Chiron could have had a more radical face than what his superiors chose, which frustrated him. Since then, under Mate Rimac's leadership, the Molsheim brand launched the Solitary program, an exclusive offer for creating unique, custom-designed cars that redefines personalization and craftsmanship. A stunning project has just unveiled its division's second model, the Bugatti Veyron FKP, as a tribute to Ferdinand Karl Piëch, legendary Volkswagen Group chief executive officer who revived Bugatti 20 years after the Veyron. Presented in red and black, this version closely mirrors the original's design, only updating the headlights and adjusting proportions for a modern look. Pinching the C more in the side view increases the black area below, making the car look lighter. It's amazing that after 20 years, the same Bugatti design still gets the same reactions. That's Bugatti's strength. If you like this video and want to learn the secret of cars that never age, watch this one now.